I must go under the car again, the car on the lonely drive, and all I want is a toolbox and a manual to guide me by. Who wrote that poem? Well, he did it about tool ships, actually. Oh, I'll give you a clue. It was in the Star Trek film. Okay, so I've decided to go straight on to the transmission fluid code. I really don't want to get her up on the jacks like this again and go for all this. Oh, bloody hell. So there is the transmission fluid. And that's all coming out. It's cold because obviously the car isn't running a week or so. But then again, I'm taking all the sump off. I'm taking the mechatronics out. You know, the whole thing's coming apart. That oil definitely hasn't been done, has it? That's manky. So not a bad thing I'm doing it now. Okay, next day. I've suffered a war wound from the undoing this bolt, and the ratchet suddenly went and smacked my finger into there, and it really hurts because it's got the edge of the nail. I finally found the use for my metal dish here. Magnetic dish for all these nuts and bolts. Screws. So there's a whole multitude of these things to take out now. So here's all the gearbox parts here. These are all ZF. I just tried to get ZF stuff because I thought, well, better. And it was a good price anyway. It's the same price as the other sort of meal and stuff like that. Meh, whatever. Here's the filter. Don't forget the Maserati has a steel sump that doesn't get replaced. So it's not like the Jags that have plastic sumps where the plastic sump is the filter. This has a metal sump, so you have a separate filter. I've got 8 litres of fluid. I got an extra litre because I'm doing the mechatronics and I didn't want to end up not having enough. So these are the mechatronic seals, the little rubber seals that go after a few thousand, after, I don't know, 60 to 100,000 miles, something like that, and start making your gear changes not quite smooth. I don't think I have that problem, by the way, but I thought if I'm doing all this, I'm certainly going to fit these because this is about, well, they're about 25, 30 quid, I think it was for this kit. The whole thing, I can't remember how much it cost. I will stick it up, but I got everything quite a bit cheaper, so I was quite happy because obviously these are the sort of things that you, when you take all that gearbox apart, you don't really want to be doing it too often. I say take it apart, you know, drop the sump pan off the bottom. It's apparently not too bad a job, but good to get it all done in one nice hit. Right, so first thoughts on this are, so the liquid for this transmission is like an amber colour. This is actually like slightly darker now, because obviously it's old. It doesn't smell. It all looks clean. I've looked in there's magnetic chip collectors things in here, and I've looked at them and as much as I can in this position, and they all look clean. So it's still dripping oil, and it looks like it's going to drip oil for a while, which will be a little bit annoying, but there you go. Even though I've left it draining all overnight. Obviously this still sits in the oil, or perhaps it's just draining down slowly, and when I take the mechatronic unit out, maybe I've had a whole load of extra oil come out, which is what I'm kind of expecting. So I've got a Stanley knife blade here. Someone tried to scam me yesterday. They sent me this thing from Screwfix saying, fill out this and you've got the potential of winning a free Stanley toolbox. And of course I'm free. I say, think free? Stanley, free? Cool, I'll go for that. And I went through the whole thing, and then I was like, wait a second. And then it said you have to pay postage. And I'm like, you're giving me a free toolbox, but you have to make me pay postage. Wouldn't I just pick it up from Screwfix? So I went on Google, and of course, yeah, it's a scam. They scam you for the postage cost and your details, I suppose, which they can sell off to some dodgy hacker from some weird far country. And yeah, I don't know. It does annoy you, doesn't it? Oh, I was late getting up this morning, or getting out to this, because I watched a video NHET. It's Vietnamese. They speak in Vietnamese. They don't speak much in the video. It's about 50 minutes long, but they basically make a supercar out of a Toyota engine and some Toyota bits. And they made a Beghini's Honda, and they've done like Ferraris and things. And they, you know, they weld a load of box section together and then make a you know, frame, and then they actually make out of clay, modeling clay, the entire car and all the interior as well. Absolutely amazing, the skill of those guys. I mean, I was just watching it and I was thinking, geez, you know. Right, so I've just looked at everything, and apparently the next bit is, there's the connector there. So there's the solenoids, that's the front of the car, that's the rear of the car back that way. And then on this side here, there's a connector just in there somewhere, and I need to get that undone because I've got to obviously take all this out. So just watched some guy who said that there's a little tab just there. God, I can't see. I think you just geez, yeah, he's right, there it goes. So this bit's very difficult to show actually in the camera footage, but there's a tab on that clip there, and if you get a pry bar behind it and click it anti-clockwise, it unlocks out of the pins in that little inset picture I've got there, and then the whole thing can the whole bezel can rotate, and then you can pull it backwards and out. Yes, you can't quite see, but I've just used a screwdriver just to get there and do it. Just knock it anti-clockwise. Right, there it goes. Yeah, probably best not the time to talk to me. I'm underneath the car. Okay. I had to take out the engine mount again because I could not get to the connector that's down there. You can just see about there. I just couldn't pull the connector back, and then I couldn't get the sleeve out. So there's a sleeve in there that comes in the Mechatronics kit, a little 30 quid kit of parts. You unclick this white lever here and pull it down, and it clicks down, and then that I got a pair of long nose pliers on and just yanked it out. With that sleeve out, you're now free to take the mechatronics unit out. There's 10 screws that you have to undo at this point. Be careful, because it will tip some extra oil out when you bring it down. So if you're right underneath it like I am here, you will get oil in your face. I don't think it's very heavy. Oh, there it comes. Whoa, right, there she goes. Yeah, let's get some more fluid out of there. So I hope you can see. Here's my new seals. So this one goes like this, in there. There's no closer than that. Just there. Oops, no, that wasn't very good, was it? It just cracked up there and left a little bit of plastic behind. I'll try it again without leaving the plastic on there. There we go. So I'll start with this one. So I'm just going to use this. I wish I had a pick. I do have somewhere a nice scriber pick thing, you know. You really don't want to scratch any of this. There you go. Right, there's one. So I'm going to match it up to the new ones. I think it's too short and too long, but I'll check. So that looks right. So I'll stick that in there like so. Yeah, so just be careful not to damage any of the face there or anything like that, because obviously you don't want to have any problems with those seals or anything like that. So that's all the seals done. So before I get the mechatronics unit in, I really want to clean off the rest of this gunk off the flange, which might be a little bit of a long old job. So if I clean the rest of that off, I've got some acetone I can use. I can't do this bit, but this bit was clean anyway. But I'll clean all around here. I'll get everything clean, then I'll put the mechatronics unit up, and then everything can start going back together again. What's the sharp flashing along these edges? It's quite strange. You wouldn't have needed to have cleaned anything. Anyhow, there you go. It's come to that moment of trying to put this thing back in again. So I got as much oils out as I could. I've cleaned up all in there, cleaned the gasket material, the gasket face. Only one thing to do. So again, there's 10 screws that you need to do up. You can tell which ones they are because they've got the bigger head with the bigger size Torx fitting in them. What I did is I used a screwdriver to just slowly crank the thing up, because as it goes up, it actually compresses the new seals into place. So you wanted to have it go down nice and evenly before you get the torque wrench on it. Right, so I've got a sheet here of Torx, which you can sort of see like this. And I'll just print it out. Not Torx, order of 30 of them. So I'm just going to pinch each one up. So I start off with this one. So here is me just slowly doing it in order, in the torque, you know, the order of which ones you do up, slowly doing each one a little bit more each time until it was nicely evenly cranked up or down, depending on which viewpoint you got when you're looking up at the underneath of the car. Once they're pinched down, I then used my torque wrench set to 8 Newton meters to slowly do each one as per the order. My torque wrench, I got it from Toolstation. It's a 1/4 inch torque wrench, and yeah, it worked quite well. They had it in stock as well, which is good. A couple of quick points to note. That little pin there on the M shift needs to be in between there. There's some other gearbox that has a different shifter here and it's different, but on the Maserati with the ZF 6HP 26X, that needs to be like that. It'd be really annoying if you did everything, got it all back together again, and then it didn't work. I've really cleaned up the gasket faces, and I'm going to clean them up again in a minute because a load of oil drained over the last couple of days while I was waiting for a new pan filter, because I'd ordered the wrong pan filter. I'd ordered one for a ZF 6HP 26 A61, I think it is, which is the Bentley. So just make sure you get the right gearbox designation for the kit, which I've stuck all up in this video anyhow, so you make sure you get the right one. So that's the first point I need to note. The second bit, is this. There's the O-ring in there, has been left behind by the filter. So if you don't get it out, you won't get the new filter in. So I'm just going to prise that out now. Right, so I just got this out. So you have to make sure that this little seal is not stuck in there, which this one was. And this one's gone very hard. It's not rubbery at all anymore. It was a nightmare to get out. You've got to be careful not to damage the sealing surface in there. So I got a piece of TIG welding rod, bent the end round to make like a pick, and then I could get round the top and yank it out. But, yeah, that was a bit of a pain. Right, so this plug here has to go in that hole there. Apparently it can only go in one way, and it just push fits in. And when it pushes all the way in, then you can click the white clamp thingy here in, which locks this in place, locks this bit in place. And then once I've done that, then hopefully I can get all my engine mount back in place. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of transmission fluid just around the O-rings, and I'm going to do this, and I'm probably going to have to put the camera down because I can't do everything at once. So it's now all the way in there. It was quite a push in the end. I had to give it quite a sharp sort of push. and then try and somehow use two hands to push it really, really hard, wiggle it slightly, and then this clicked in. So it's now clicked in and that electrical connector is all in place. Here's the electrical connector. Oh, it's got another one of those yellow marks. No blooming help to me today. This has to engage before this can turn and lock it in place. So this has to engage with the pins before this can learn and turn and lock it in place. So I'm just having to sort of ram it up there as best I can, and then I don't know. It actually turned out to be easier than I thought, so that was fine. And then of course I bolted the gearbox mount back in place using a bit of Loctite as well. So I need to stick my sump pan back on there, and I've just leveled the car, and now the rear of the car is really high up, scarily high up. The jack stand started moving a little bit. Oh, it was a nightmare trying to get it this high, and I've got to start the engine at this height as well. What I've done though is I've used the spirit level and I've put it actually on the face, on the gasket surface of the pan to get it level. And well, you can't quite see, but it really is level. I hope it's level because I really don't want to put it up anymore. But you know, it really is level now. So I should be in a position now to get the pan on, pan filter on, the pan gasket on, and fill her up with oil ready for first start. Right, so here's the oil pan as it came off. A little bit of sludge, nothing, well, I say sludge, just a slight skim there, nothing much. There's nothing really on the magnets as such. No chunks, no chips. Just what I think you would have after 125,000 miles, so without a change. So it looks all pretty much healthy in here. As I say, the gearbox is running fine, so I wasn't really expecting anything. I've just got to try and clean all this stuff off, so the new gasket will fit nice. Get it back on. Right, I'm a little bit embarrassed about the next thing I'm going to tell you, but I want to be honest. The pan was up in the garage just before this bit of video. The wind blew it and it fell over, and one of the magnets fell out, and I didn't realise until the engine was running again. So in the next 2 to 3 months, I'm going to have to do another oil change, just an oil change. It's not such a bad thing because on an oil change like this, you don't get all the oil out and you don't get everything changed. So it will result in a bit of a better job overall. At least that's the thing that I tell me to make myself feel better at night. Or I did swear a lot, by the way. Right, so I've taped this onto the bottom of the car because my nose is that far from the bottom of the car, from there to there. And no, I don't have a big nose, so it is that cramped. So I'm at 16, because I've already started. It's 12 Newton meters on the metal pan, 8 on the plastic, I think. So 16, now 17's over here. Here it says the California Transmission Supply Company. That's a really good thing to stick into Google because they've got all these, all the sort of guides on how to do this. They've got a whole load of frequently asked questions and all of the sort of torque settings, how to do it, how to do the mechatronics, how to replace the whole unit. Everything's on there. And if you're in America, I guess that's a good place to go to. I'm in Britain, so I'm afraid I've been a bit of a sort of information sneak and just gone in there and grabbed the bits that I need. But obviously I'm not going to order it from California. Right, so I've stuck the... Oh, no, it's dripping out. Oh, no. It wasn't dripping out a minute ago. So just stick that in there. Put some oil in, and now you can see it's coming out like crazy. So let's get that plug in because it definitely needs more oil. Obviously it needs about another 3 litres of oil. We'll just stick that straight in there. Right, I know it's good to start now. And I haven't put the drip tree in the right place. The next part of the job feels like it should be stressful, but in actual fact it's not as stressful as you think. So basically you start the engine, you undo the fill plug and you fill it up with oil. you'll get a few litres in there, then seal it up, go inside the car, put your foot on the brake and cycle through the gears a few times. I did it quite a few times, so reverse, neutral, drive a few times. And then you go underneath again and you fill up with more oil, and you'll get about 4.5 litres if you've done the mechatronics. And then you seal it up again and you wait until the engine reaches 50 degrees. I used my OBD scanner in there. I've got a little Autel A200 that you plug into the OBD port to measure the temperature.
Right, gearbox temperature is at 49 degrees. So I think I better go for it now, really. 50 degrees, there you go.
When it gets to 50 degrees, you undo it, and if a load of oil pours out, you wait until it's sort of slowed to a crawl, like this, and then you stick it in and you know you're good. But make sure it's 50 degrees when you do that final check. And then obviously you tighten up the drain plug to 80 Newton meters it was, and the job is finished at last. And then all you got to do is clean everything up and get rid of something like around about 10 litres of oil. I mean, I had a whole ton of oil and coolant to get rid of because I did all of the fluids during this period of maintenance on my drive.